Good evening, everybody. Welcome on this lovely Tuesday evening. Yes, spring is here, summer's on, all the flowers are raging, they're bright, they're colorful, we've had rains, it's fantastic. And tonight, I've got an amazing guest with me, Angela Rivers. So welcome, Angela. So glad to have you here with us this evening. Awesome stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah, geez. So we were chatting last week, and we just started discussing about like how far we've come in our own lives and on our own journey to, I think, get over like the nastiness of bullying, and especially when it comes to, I think, women on the playground and also in the office. And I did a bit of research for this evening's stream, and I went to where's the website now? It's www.healthline.com, and it basically identified how you know you're being bullied in the workplace, things you can do to fix it, and we'll touch on a couple of things. But apparently, both male and female bullies are more likely to target women in the group. And I found that very interesting because I think I experienced that at school. Oh, look, I can see clearly now. The rain has gone. Yes. And yeah, just all the types. I mean, managers can be bullied. Obviously, your lower level. Oh, look at that kitty. What's his? Is it a her or is it hello?
This is Indie Cat.
Indie Cat. Oh, hello, precious.
Yeah, she doesn't like to not be the center of attention. So
okay.
that's yeah.
I love cats. I love them. They keep you grounded.
They are.
I have a poochess running around here somewhere. Yeah, she's already gone to bed. It's her bedtime. I can set my watch against her, like 5 o'clock. No, she's in bed.
Good.
So yeah, we were talking about the bullying, and yeah, if you can give me, I mean, you've been in corporate, you've seen what goes on. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your journey with, realizing and discovering who you
are. So sure, it's quite a. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail, but I think the most significant aspects of my life. So I'm a general manager of JPOMA, which is an inner city based company. So I work a lot in the inner city. I've been in the inner city for 15 years. Interestingly enough, I don't know if you would have had this experience because I think you're based in Pretoria, but I have found that being in Joburg inner city, I don't get bullied by women that much because there are so few of us in the property industry in the inner city. So we tend to stick together and assist each other and help each other wherever we can because our numbers are so small. But saying that, there are a couple of little bitchy bullies that like to steal projects and put their name on it and take it as their own. And it's an issue. And in preparation for this, I also did a bit of research on, why do people bully? Why do people bully, and why do people get bullied? Like, what is the aspect of your personality that people can bully you? And I thought about it a lot, and I mean, I think that one of the most important things, I think that people bully, especially when I look at currently with this particular woman who has been stealing my work and stuff, is she has a need to feel important and significant in her role. She have enough to do it on her own, so there's this
insecurity.
Yeah. for security and to protect her job and to stand out and to be liked by everybody. So in the inner city itself, the bullying has been very limited with regard to woman on woman. I haven't had a lot of experience with men bullying me either, but I find that the men in the property industry are very different to men in other industries. They're very, and they don't actually have time for bitchiness and drama and all that. So they don't get involved in any kind of personal level. It's like, I'm here to make money. I've got to collect the rent. I've got to do what I need to do. And you either walk in next to me or you can piss off.
Get out the door. Yeah, there's the door.
Exactly.
No, 100%. I just want to say hello to everybody. If you recognize anyone from your crew, Gentle Inflatables first, yes, always. Loyalty there. Elizabeth the Brew, how's it, meneer? Hello, Melissa's here. Nikki and Heinrich, hello. Nikki and Heinrich, are you guys, is that the name of a business? Or is it just you share an email address? Also Marie van, hello Marie, excellent, JC Silvanon, fantastic. Sumi Chok, no better woman to have a special guest than my Angela. Aw, amazing woman and an inspiration.
That's cool. I can't see the comments.
Okay, wait, go on your phone, click on the link.
I got it. Oh, live chat.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, I got it. Oh, hi, Samaya. That is an example, just to quickly tell you, that is an example of an amazing inner city woman.
Okay.
She's one of my favorite people.
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Well, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us. And yeah, this is the thing as well, as women, it's so important because we get judged not only by everyone else, but by ourselves especially. We are the hardest on ourselves. Or no, I am, even though, and I think my weight issue is some sort of a subconscious crazy beating thing that I do because I like, TG's telling me to sit like this. I sort of punish myself and then I feel, no, but I deserve this. And then I smash a slab of chocolate or something, if I'm truly honest. And yeah, it makes it, but this is how I think women need to support each other because we're so hard on ourselves and we shouldn't be hard on each other. We are just legendary. The fact that we, have so much to deal with, being single moms or even moms to lots of children, dealing with husbands. It's exhausting, and working a full day or keeping your house together, making sure everything's there, everything's ready. You haven't gone to the shops, forgotten the toilet paper for the 5th time. Trying to be in corporate, there's just so much pressure on us. And for men too. The one thing that this article, and I'll read it again because I don't want to get any sort of trouble. So it's on www.healthline.com, healthy workplace bullying signs. And men get bullied, managers get bullied, and now obviously with the internet, that's obviously, we'll get into that maybe a little bit later, but it's just crazy. But okay, sorry. So you were saying. So let me not interrupt you.
Okay. So the inner city is a different kind of animal for me. I also find, because as you know, I sit in an office with a whole bunch of other women that I don't actually work with. I'm like a rented desk. And what I found was when I started there, it is majority women in the office, and I was a little bit nervous initially. I was now working in the space where there was all these women that don't know me, and I'm now kind of an interloper in their office. And I've never felt more accepted by that group of women in my, it blew my mind when their boss would come back from the farm with dairy stuff and cow milk and fruit and vegetables. They included me on all the division of the goods. I never felt included. So as far as corporate bullying is, I'm extremely fortunate right now. But Before this job, I worked at a law firm in Sandton. Yeah, sorry, my son just got back from gym. Doesn't want to walk fast, but he's got to get to his bedroom.
Okay, cool.
So I worked at an attorney firm in Sandton for 2 years. When I got, I was very excited because I had a female boss who was very similar to the male boss I'd left behind, who is one of the most inspirational human beings on the planet. I thought, well, great, I'm going into a situation where I've now kind of got the female version of him, and she treated me the exact same way. She mentored me and she helped me get into the environment, because coming from the inner city into Sandton is a big culture shock, and everything was different. My wardrobe had to change. I had to start brushing my hair, putting makeup on, wearing proper shoes. And after about 3 or 4 months, they brought in a new manager who was one of the director's daughter's best friend. So she brought in pure nepotism, no job interview. She literally went into a senior management role without anybody interviewing her. And
no credentials. No experience, no credentials.
No experience, no credentials, big attitude. And I think I realized almost within like a couple of weeks that I had to leave. But coming from my previous job where I had like 8 years on my CV, I couldn't now leave a job after 2 or 3 months because it's going to look crap on my CV. So I knew I had to stick it out for at least 2 years.
Sure.
And when I look back on it now, I think it was the most damaging thing that I've ever done to my self-esteem. That woman broke me. And I'm a really strong woman. I'm very opinionated. I'm very confident in the way that I talk and the way that I do things.
And you're very capable.
I'm very capable. Yes, I'm extremely capable. And in that kind of 15 months that I was under her supervision, she destroyed my self-esteem. She destroyed every single day. I would go home, bawl my eyes out with my mother, and I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. And she would say really terrible things to me. Like one of the things she said to me, and I'll never forget it, it was so devastating. She said to me, I don't get it. How do you breathe? You're so stupid. Like, how do you even breathe on your own?
Oh, shit.
There, and by that stage, I'd already been broken down. I mean, if she'd said that to me 2 years earlier, I probably would have punched my lights out. But she'd down. And she made me retrench my whole department. I spent more time in HR than I did anything, and I found myself becoming a very miserable, broken human being. Eventually, my mother just said to me, you know what, it's enough. Quit. We'll figure something out. And I did. I'm now in my current job for almost, I think it's 4 or 5 years. I don't know. But I'm only in the last year got my self-confidence back. And it was my sister actually who picked it up. She was helping me out with the accounting of the company that I'm in now. And we walked out of a boardroom and she said to me, who are you? These men are talking over you. This is not the Angela that I've known my whole life. And it took her to say that to me for me to click and say, I'm being damaged. And I start repairing what I've done to what this woman has done to me. So yeah, I'm now a year down of the self-improvement aspect of myself, where I now feel like stronger than I was before. I don't know, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. So the question, did I have to do that 2 years to get to where I am now? Or should I have just, I don't know. The reality is I am where I am now and I'm finally better.
Good. Yes. Be
One
better.
person. Yes. Wonder Woman. It's scary that one person can do that to you. And that is what is so scary and so powerful about the words that we say, not only to other people, but that we say to ourselves. Words manifest everything,
Correct.
There's a woman that my sister got me onto called Marissa Peer. I wrote it down because it's really weird. She's a rapid transformational therapist, and she's on YouTube.
Yeah.
basically does almost kind of like she reprograms your brain. So you have a memory that causes you anxiety or distress or low self-esteem, and you kind of say to that memory, it's over, I'm not interested, this is who I am now, and you kind of delete that memory from your psyche almost, so that you get better self-esteem and you start to like yourself more. It's really about liking yourself.
How do you spell peers?
It's peer, like peer, P-E-E-R.
Okay, yeah. Marissa with one S. M-A-R-I-S-A.
Yeah, one R, one S. Yeah, one R, one S.
Cool, I'll check it out.
And she is super powerful. And in fact, last night I went on, she does a lot of hypnosis, because I believe in hypnosis therapy, because I suffer from migraines, and hypnosis therapy with migraines is very effective.
Wow.
So last night I actually did one of her hypnosis ones on self-esteem, and it was really powerful. It's amazing how the words that you say to yourself affect you so deeply. It's really important to keep yourself in check when you look in the mirror and you go, oh my God, what is this? And what she teaches you is, when you look in the mirror, you should appreciate your body, because your legs are walking you around, your arms are putting food into your mouth is feeding you.
Correct.
And, you should be grateful that you actually have this body that is keeping you alive.
Correct. And I think the most two common mistakes we do to ourselves, like we'll make a mistake on a presentation, or we'll spell a word wrong and we'll go, oh, idiot, or I'm so stupid. And someone once I went to a holistic health fair once, and I did the same thing, and someone said to me, Ruthie, you got to, like, I know in Judaism, like, we don't speak badly. We shouldn't really speak badly about someone. And you've got two fences. You've got your teeth and you've got your lips to shut your mouth. And what this person, it's double gates. Careful what you say. And the funniest thing is that, but everything what we say, our brain listens to. We can't switch off our ears. We can't say, idiot. We hear it within our bone tissue, and our brain listens, and it goes into our subconscious, and it affects I believe, not only our self-esteem but our DNA on some sort of a strange metabolic level. I know it sounds a bit crazy, but I think the subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. Incredibly.
It's so if you don't mind, one of the things that Marissa Peer does, and if I can do it now, because it literally takes a couple of seconds, and it just shows how powerful the mind is.
Okay.
Okay. Imagine you are holding a lemon in your hand. So you've got this juicy lemon. Okay. Yeah. You cut, and it's half a lemon, so this side is open, and it's all that juiciness, and you take that and you put it in your mouth and you take a giant bite out of it.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening to you right now?
Yes.
You don't even have a lemon. I'm just telling you about it. And your body immediately has this physical reaction to it.
Right.
So you say to yourself, I'm an idiot, I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm ugly. Your body's going, yes, I am. Thank you for letting me know. And that's the reality of it.
Yes.
And one of the things, I love this story. My dad in the 80s, they just started this, the power of positive thinking, and rich man, poor man, and you are what you eat and you are what you say. And he was like all excited, and he got into it and he went on all the courses. And every single morning before my sister and I went to school, he would say to us, what are you? And I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I feel terrific. And we had to do that every single day before we went to school.
Sure.
And now, 40 years later, I remember it like it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. And now I started doing it again, not in those words. I found other words that are important to me. My two at the moment is, I like myself.
Okay.
I'm lovable. And that's what I need right now. That's what I'm telling myself at the moment. But it might need something else, because we grow, and we change, and we develop. And the more we improve ourselves, we have to keep changing what works.
Correct. And I think the greatest thing, thank you for sharing. I love that lemon thing. That's so cool. So you saw, I don't know if you've seen these two videos. I'll try and find them on the internet and send them to you as well. But it's that little girl, the father standing with the little girl in the mirror, and he's like, "What are you? I'm clever." And he says, "What else?" Like that is so awesome. And it's
powerful.
Yes, and this father is teaching his daughter to love herself. And I think in a way, I mean, my mom was a people's pleaser, and she was a very she had a lot of trauma happen to her, and she had very low self-esteem. And she didn't have the confidence to give over to me, and I'd say, "Oh, mommy, the girls don't want to play with me, or they're being mean to me." She'd say, "Oh, they're just jealous." And that didn't help me. It didn't help me at all. But what I tell my son, what I told him when he was little, is that, Nathan, I usually say 5 billion, but now I watched that movie, David Attenborough. There are now 7 billion people on the planet, not 5 anymore. We've gone up a few. You are not going to like everybody else, and not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay.
Yes.
And parents we don't tell ourselves that. We don't tell our children that. You can't. And I've been, I think, a people pleaser for the longest time, and even still, I hate burning bridges. I hate I love people. I mean, yes, my work is not like that at all. I mean, my work, the environments I work in, but that's why I started this YouTube channel, because I wanted to have these discussions and these experiences, and it was so important for me to connect. I thought, well, if I'm not doing it at work necessarily, I have to do it in yeah, and we all have to find our mantra, our authentic, like the stream's called authenticity. Who are you? Who are you when no one is looking? When what are you made of? There's that beautiful thing in Alice in Wonderland where the Joker says to Alice, "You've lost your muchness." And she, like, your muchness, your essence, your ruach, your vibe.
Passion.
Yes, and as kids, and even in bullying, the truth is, what do they say? All bullies are cowards. And a tip in this thing is actually confront the bully. If you know who's bullying you, bring along a trusted witness, such as a co-worker or supervisor, and ask them to stop if you feel comfortable doing so. Be calm, direct, and polite. It talks about document the bullying, save physical evidence. If anyone in the comments wants me to read the subheadings, review work policy, seek legal guidance, and reach out to others. And also explore what helps you cope. Seek maybe psychological input, but it's a terrible thing. And I think our children suffer. Also now with online cyber stuff, it's worse, because kids and people can say the most nasty and abhorrent things. And it's anonymous. There's no accountability. So you've got to develop a real thick skin. And you've got to know your self-worth. And we've got to be teaching our children now more than ever to know who they are. I think.
And interestingly enough, our brains are kind of hot-wired. This is my understanding of a lot of the videos that I've watched. Our brains are kind of hot-wired to notice the negative stuff before the positive stuff. Example of that is your YouTube channel. You'll have like 100 positive comments and one negative comment, and that one negative comment will sit and torment you. And I see it a lot on Reddit, because I love Reddit. I love reading about all the crazy people in the world. And you read it, and there's always an update at the bottom where it says, "Oh, and the people who are insulting me about this, and this," and you go and you try and find the insulting comments, and it's one little lost comment in the middle, but that's what that person is focused on.
And
I've submitted a lot of posts to Reddit as well, especially the crazy family part of it. And I'm exactly the same. I'll have 400 messages of support and encouragement, and then one guy who will say, you obviously deserved it. And I'll be like, what? How could he say that? And all comments just disintegrate. And it's also about that you got to get into that habit of rewiring your brain where you just like cut off that negativity.
Or you'll get so upset, like someone will take a parking in front of you or be rude to you at the counter, or just, and you think, I don't know, I take things way too personally, and I need to start doing the mantras, start doing the work on ourselves. And I think we're so busy as moms, as working full-time people, career people. We're so busy concentrating on everyone else that we forget about ourselves.
Yeah.
And I feel so sorry for men in a way. I think men also have it incredibly hard in the workplace. I think they put a lot of pressure on themselves. There's a lot of competition, and also being in corporate, it's hectic. And I don't know if men are more supportive of each other. I think in a way that, like, men will like have an issue with each other and bliksem the cook out of each other, and then it's over. But women, naff, and they
drag it out.
They drag it out. They wave. And I've always been a person where I confront. Like, eventually I'll get to a stage where, okay, what's going on? You know, what's the story? And sometimes you just got to go with the punches. Just like, well, I actually don't like you. Okay, great. Well, then don't like me. But say it to my face, and then I know, okay, I don't actually have to greet you anymore. Sorry, my phone's going mad. And it's still, for some reason, not on silent. By the way, people, if you're new to the stream and you like to hear what I have to say, and also all the fantastic guests that I have on the show, Angela, you'll be coming on again. I think even next week or no, soon. And you like what I have to say, please click the subscribe button and give the video a like. You can give a thumbs up as well, or if you don't like it, give it a down. That's also all right.
But then I'm coming to find you.
Well, that's anonymous. By the way, do you have Netflix?
I do.
Did you watch that program, The Social Dilemma?
No.
Okay, so it's a docu. It's like a movie, but it's also a docu. It's like movie doc. What's it called? What's a movie and a docu called together? Probably something.
Yeah,
like a documentary. No, not documentary. Like a not a that is a documentary. Like a, I don't know what it's called, but it gives like good examples in the docu. And it has all these intellectuals from like big Silicon Valley company. And what your example said was the little girl, she posts this like Snapchat picture of herself, and she's getting all these likes and cute and da-da-da, and all of a sudden someone insults her ears. And then she realizes, oh yeah, my ears are a bit like, and she breaks down, but she forgets all the other comments.
Yeah.
You know? So it's I just want
to. There's another series that I watched on Netflix called 100 Humans. Have you seen that?
No. Okay, I'll make a note.
That is highly recommend. I highly recommend that. I literally watched the entire series in one day. It is unbelievable. And what they do in America, and they take 100 people from different walks of life and different cultures and different religions, and they stay together for like, it must be about a month or two. And they do all social experiments on them to kind of get the statistics of what is a typical human behavior. So, for example, they had a guy there who spins plates, and he taught. They chose they chose a group. Like, I think they took half of the group, and this guy taught them how to spin plates on a stick.
Wow.
After they'd practiced, they had to stand on the stage and perform now in front of him and two judges. But in front of him, he had a bowl, And every time he pulled out a red ball, he had a person, no matter how good they were at spinning the plates, he had to insult them. And if he pulled out the green ball, he had to compliment them no matter how good or bad they were. So it was totally how he was going to compliment or insult them. So the first came out was actually one of the best people who came out, and she was spinning the plates and everything, and he was just like, yeah, that was underwhelming. Yeah, you're not very good at that. And she just like, And then the woman who came out and kept dropping the plates, she got a green ball. He was like, wow, you're amazing, you're fantastic, I can't believe how well you did. And she's all shocked because she keeps dropping the plates. Then they had to go and practice and come back half an hour later and redo it. And the woman who had got criticized did worse than when she did it the first time. And the woman who had been complimented obviously improved. And it's the whole of compliments will improve performance, whereas criticism will not improve in performance.
Correct. Or so not even recognition. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So it's kind of stuff that we know, but now they've done it in a social study with proper statistics and everything. So it's really like to see how the human behavior and how humans interact with each other. It's a really, really great series. I learned
100 Humans. I'll have a look at it on the weekend. How long did it take you to watch back to back?
Like a whole day and a half.
No, I'm just as terrible with like series. If I start a series and it gets me, TG saying bye, like I just disappear. I watch back to back. I think I watched season 1 and season 2 of Game of Thrones in 48 hours.
Wow.
When I started, but it was thank God they were already out. So I didn't watch it live at the time. I watched it later. So that was tons of fun. I just fast forward the boring bits, like with Suits. Like I always fast forwarded Mike and what was her name? Megan. Mike, but it's not Megan in the series. It's Mike and Rachel. I like get bored of their soppy cuck. Like fast forward. Like, let's hear what Harvey's doing. I want to see what Harvey's doing. Yeah, Harvey and what was that guy? Lewis, but it's actually spelled Louis, Louis. But
yes.
Have you seen Suits?
Yeah, but I kind of got bored after a while. It's like
repetitive.
Yeah, especially when you're binging, then you get frustrated.
Yeah, I just fast forward the
I'm very conscious of things that I watch, so I won't watch Game of Thrones specifically because I'm a visual person. So I also come from a photography background, so I'm a visual person. I need visual stimulation, and I find that I watch horror movies and gore or anything with too much blood and all that. It affects me for days.
Yes,
I feel depressed, and that gruesomeness and the like when people treat each other in these shows, it affects me on a very emotional level.
Yes, I can't watch cruelty to animals. Or cruelty
like
to
that video you sent me. When did you send me that video?
Yesterday. Yeah.
I couldn't watch it. I watched about 2 or 3 seconds of it, and I was just like, people are cruel. People are so cruel.
But I mean, she obviously she was either trying to make a statement or she had a mental break. Like, I don't know. Did you recognize where that was?
So there is an issue in the inner city for your viewers that don't know. Ruth sent me a video yesterday of a woman bathing naked in a bucket on the side of the street in the inner city, and the people who were filming her and laughing through the car window. And I think that's what got to me the most, was the fact that they were so disrespectful. The issue with that, and I don't think she's mentally ill. I think it is a poverty thing. And there is a huge problem in the inner city with shortage of accommodation. And not just that, buildings that are hijacked with people in it, illegal people that are staying in it, normally don't have water or electricity. And you'll probably find where she was, they'd broken the tap and the water was leaking. I didn't go and watch the video in enough detail where it was coming from. But you'll probably find that there's a water supply outside where they've broken the pipe. And that's where they're gathering the water from. And it's just easier to bath right there on the spot than to carry that bucket up the stairs to the 10th floor or whatever. See it a lot with the taxi drivers. In fact, there's a terminology for taxi drivers called mageza, which means tap washer, because to save their spot in the taxi rank, they will bath at the taxi rank and they'll bath under the tap. So it's a kind of it's an insult if another taxi driver calls them mageza. But I found as a white person calling them mageza, I get a lot of respect, and it usually diffuses days of situations.
Okay.
A bit crazy when I drive.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna definitely have you on all about that. I mean, that to me, in fact, there's a taxi rank close to us. What's up? I just want to also, there's a taxi rank, and then I just want to read some comments.
Okay.
There is, and guys, if you want to ask Angela anything, but I want to talk about the school bullying as well and experiences with that. But so I was thinking of talking to the boss. I'll never forget when alcohol was allowed to be sold again. They're in the middle of near where I stay. So the shopping center that I'm talking about, it's kind of like your middle upper class shopping center, right? Like your Rosebank. And there's the chief. I don't know what he'd be called in the taxi rank. But
there's a word for it.
Yeah, he was punting. I mean, he had a bottle of Zamalek, a quart, right? And he's puzzing and he's happy and he's punting and he's vying his taxis to come park, and life is good again and he didn't have a sock, when alcohol was, we were allowed to buy alcohol again. And I just thought, no, exactly. In true African style, viva, and then I looked back, and then he had another one, like he was putting them away. He probably had a crate underneath a taxi that he'd bought all his quarts from. In fact, probably the whole taxi was full of Zamalek. I know someone in the comments who had the same idea. What was it? Oh yes, let's read some comments. So JC Manuel, watch the insects in the garden. JC, is that a movie or is it a series? But is it on Netflix? And then also, hello Kat. I didn't say greet before. I'm just scrolling back a bit. Elizabeth says humans have lost touch with understanding, compassion, and humility. That is so true. Well, I actually wonder if we've actually never. I mean, Gareth Cliff always says we've never lived a better life. Most of us are able to have, I'm talking obviously people with jobs and people, we have access to running water, toilets. We're not fighting in a king's war. We're not fighting for a landlord. We're not putting our lives in peril. We have antibiotics. We have dentistry, ophthalmology. I mean, our age is doubled. Our age expiration date is doubled. So actually, like, we also hard and downtrodden on how life sucks. But actually, when you look at it in hindsight to 300-400 years ago, or even 1,000 years ago, we're living Da Vida Loca, and we need to really grab this time and just be grateful. And what did I read today? If you can be anything, be kind. And
that's so easy.
You've got to have a boundary around your space. You can't just go and dishing out all your well, I can't. And charity starts at home. That's another thing. And do what you can for who you can, maybe. Oh yes, Kat, do you want to read Kat's question? I don't know if you can see it on your side. I want to know.
Where am I? Is it?
Kat, do you see it there? Shall I read it?
Okay. I want to know, what is inner city living in Johannesburg? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, okay, so Kat's obviously from Pretoria or somewhere else.
No, she's from Cape Town.
Oh, okay. So Johannesburg in itself is Johannesburg, but then we have our CBD, which is what we call the inner city. I don't know. I think that's what you're asking, Kat.
Okay.
What is there a difference between?
I think go with how you interpret the question.
So we have our main CBD, which used to be the corporate hub of the inner city, and then about 20 years ago, all the businesses left the inner city, and we were left with all these empty buildings. And a couple of developers stayed behind and started converting those old office blocks into affordable housing units. So the inner city, which used to be kind of the business hub of Johannesburg, that business hub has now moved to Sandton, and Sandton is now the business hub. And our actual original inner city, where we have Ponty and the Joburg Tower and all that, that has now become almost purely residential. There's very, very few offices left in the inner city, and even ABSA has converted, I think, the top 10 floors of their ABSA towers into affordable housing, because they've realized that the need for housing is a lot greater than the need for offices. The only people who are still in the inner city from a corporate point of view are the banks. Anglo Gold has just left, so they're no longer there, but the banks, not Nedbank, but the other banks are there. And the developers, the property managers and the property developers, the inner city has become an accommodation hub of Johannesburg. And it's amazing. I really could talk about it all day, but we're going to talk about that another time, because we will this beautiful session talking about the inner city, because I really can talk about it for days and days and days.
She can indeed. It's her makeup, which I think is amazing. I mean, I must find also, but yeah, okay, let's not that's me, segue Ruth. Like I'll start at the topic and then josh. Like if you watch the streams, you'll know. Like I segue. But yeah, so okay, so tell me a little bit about, okay, so you had this woman who broke you down completely, and thank God you had a strong family member to say to you, oi, wake up,
what up?
Come back.
Yes. Slap
wake
around
up.
The chops. Yes.
And then at school, I mean, I don't know what it was.
Okay, so school, you know what, I've been debating, since you asked me to do this, I've been debating about how far I should go. And you know what? I'm going to tell you it all, because I think it's So when I was at school, I was bullied relentlessly. And like with all schools and most bullies, there's a pyramid. You have the queen bee at the top, and then you have all the minions that kind of float down. And I was at a predominantly Jewish school, and I'm not Jewish, so I got bullied for not being Jewish. I got bullied for having boobs. I got bullied for everything, like buck teeth. My mother never made me lunch at school, so I got bullied for that. You name it. It was relentless. It was never ending. I'm fortunate that I had two friends at that time, and the one girl was actually, it was quite a weird setup. She's quite a phenomenal woman even now. She didn't believe in the hierarchy, so she decided to be friends with us, even though we were at the bottom of the pyramid. But everybody at the top of the pyramid really liked her, so she was popular but chose to hang out with us, which kind of, I think, was a bit of a balancing. I think it kind of made it a lot more tolerable. But what happened was, being bullied and being so relentlessly bullied, I found somebody to bully, and I became a bully myself. And our little group of three, there was the fourth girl who I decided all my anger and all my resentment and all my animosity and self-loathing, I dumped onto her.
Sure.
And so I'm like, and I never thought of the consequences. I didn't think, it was primary school, because when I went to high school, I went to a different high school to everybody in my school. So I never saw any of those girls from primary school again. And I never thought of the consequences. And when I look back, the cruelty that I inflicted on her was horrific. I even ridiculed her for listening to Michael Jackson, like really stupid, horrible things. And then I carried on with life, and I didn't think about it. And then my son was born, and I wanted him to go to KEPS. So when I put him into KEPS, they sent me the introductory pack, and lo and behold, there's this girl's name as one of the teachers at his school.
Wow.
So I thought, wow. And being a bully, and I think this is the thing with bullies, is you don't realize the effect that you've had on people until much later on in life, or until you get confronted with it. And I was so excited. I was like, oh, someone from primary school. This is so awesome. And I phoned the school and I said, please, can I have this teacher's name? You were at school together. And she said, well, get her to, they gave me her number. And I phoned her and I said, oh, I'm so happy to hear from you. And my son is coming to the school. And she was like, oh. And I was like, it would be so nice. Maybe we can meet up for coffee sometime. She's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm sorry, I got to go. And a week later, the school sent out a notice to say that she'd left the school and had moved to another school. And then she blocked me on Facebook, and all the other repercussions of being a clueless bully now as a grown-up, I then had to sit and realize what I had done.
Wow.
And I was talking to my sister about it yesterday, and it's like, I cannot believe when I look back on it that I was probably crueler to her than the bullies were to me. And it kind of made me do a lot of self-reflection over the last, like, when did you ask me to do this? Yesterday. So I had a lot.
Yes, I put a gun to you, Angela. I put a gun. No, thank you.
And it's interesting because when I moved into this house, my biggest bully lived across the road from me. And I drove out of my house the one day, and she was like waiting for me. And she was like, I can't believe you're my neighbor, and I'm so excited to see you. And that knot in my stomach and that anxiety and all those feelings. And I think to myself, I've done the exact same thing to another human being. So bad that she left her. I don't know if she was planning to leave the school, but it just seems a bit weird that a week after I contact her, she now disappears out of the entire area, you know.
Sure. Well, do you wish you could contact her to kind of apologize?
100%. Yeah, 100%. My sister and I were actually trying to see if we could find her on Facebook last night, and yeah, she's not on Facebook. I think that bullying is very destructive, and I hope that, I don't know, my bully that lived across the road from me never treated me like she'd done anything wrong to me. In fact, she treated me like his friend, and that made me more crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I absolutely would love the opportunity to find her and say, I'm so sorry. I was a stupid child who was so desperate to fit in and be liked and, just feel like I was enough for everybody in the school. And I never was. And, just to make amends for that.
Yes. I just, it's incredible. Wow. Thank you so much. And in a way, so gives such perspective, because I think it takes guts. It takes guts to realize you were that girl, or
I was a bitch.
bitching on you. Someone else was bitching on you.
Yeah.
I experienced something strange where I also bumped into, and what's strange is that, so I bumped into, I didn't bump into her, but I saw her on Facebook and realized we had so many common friends. Obviously on Facebook it takes one friend or two friends to finally put you, or some other connection that puts you in touch, and then you see the person and then you click add friend or whatever it is. And she added me as a friend, and she lives in Pretoria, and I said to her, let's meet. I'd love to see you. And she kept avoiding, and she's still avoiding, and in a way, I think to myself, and today, because at first I just thought, she's very busy. I know she's very busy, and people go through stuff, and people are busy and what have you. But I mean, I sort of thought about it today. I thought maybe she's avoiding me because she feels threatened, or did I do anything to her? Or I don't know, maybe I did. Maybe I said, I remember once, because she was very naive. I mean, even more than me, which is a lot. And I remember we were talking about girl things, and in standard 5, or what's it now, grade 7. And we were talking obviously about, there was a rumor that if you French kissed a boy while you were on your menses, you could fall pregnant.
Pregnant.
And it sounds crazy at the time, but when you're that young and you don't have proper role models and proper people to guide you, you'd believe anything. And she actually fell pregnant quite early. I don't think she was 18. I'm not sure. Look, if she does ever watch this, I'm sorry. I don't know the exact story. She obviously never got the truth, or some boy obviously tricked her, or whatever it was, or you just think it won't happen to you, and it does. And the point is that I have to let it go. I have to realize, okay, what's strange is that we've got so many interleading friends. So I think, well, we've got to have stuff in common. But maybe we don't. I don't know. It's bizarre. And that's a lesson as well. You have to try and let it go. How do you let it go? How do you just allow yourself to, do you forgive yourself? Do you,
you have to. So this goes back to the whole thing where whatever you tell yourself becomes a reality. And I think that if you want to be a good person, if you realize, like for me, I've realized, I'll tell you another incident of a bullying that I did, which changed my life. It's one of my favorite stories about one of my personal journeys, and I always use it as an example for everyone. If anyone who wants to hear, I will tell the story, because it literally changed me from one person to another.
Wow.
And when I was like 22, 23, somewhere around there, I traveled around England and Europe, and I did the whole, but I just come out of a very bad drug addiction, and I'd gone overseas to get away from all the drugs and all the bad people in my life. So I was on a journey of self-discovery. So the work that I was doing was housekeeping. I was making beds and scrubbing toilets, because I wanted to get down to the essence of who I was, and I felt like I needed to be away from people and doing the slog work. So anyway, I did that for a year, and then after that, I lived in Greece for a year. While I was working in Greece, I worked as it's a Greek word called kamaki, which means fisher of men. And you basically, as the boats come into the port, you convince people to come stay at your campsite or your hotel or your room, and it's basically like you're trapping the tourists to get them to come to your accommodation. Mm-hmm. I got there before the season started, and I got to know the owner of the campsite, and he employed me, and I became the chief kamaki, which then meant that I could then employ my team. So I could choose who I wanted to employ at different times of the year. And Europe is very seasonal. So you'll have, like, the English people will all go in July, the French will all go in June. So you more or less, I need 5 French-speaking people this month, I need 4 Italians this month, and you plan it like that. And there was this guy from England, and you always needed an English people, and he would say it every single day. He'd be like, please, can I be a kamaki? Please, can I be a kamaki? I'm like, no. And this guy he was a nerd, but a cool nerd. If I was friends with him now, I would totally enjoy him. But back then, I was still a bit of a bitch.
So if I could just stop you 1 second. So my friend believes that all nerds are sexy. Like, she's come to learn in her 40s. Like, her husband's a nerd and he's sexy. But yes, carry on. Sorry. So he wants to be a kamaki.
I get that. So to give you an example, he had, like, his campsite, he had it set up, and he had this hammock, and if you pulled this handle, the table would swing. If you pulled this handle, the shade would come over. If you pulled the handle, it would rock the hammock. And I was just like, oh my God, dude, you're in a campsite. Like, get over yourself. I really wasn't a very nice person. But I had very, very low self-esteem, in my defense, which I now realize now. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. So anyway, after about a month of him harassing me for this job, I just lost it the one day, and I said, no, you will never work for me, because you are the most irritating person I have ever met. And I actually can't even stand to be around you. And I walked away thinking that's the end of it. He packed up his entire campsite and he was gone. Then after a while, about 3 or 4 months later, I'd been on the island because I was on an island. So I'd been on the island for a while and I'd started to meet other people and I'd started to calm down. And I'd had the Dutch people are very straightforward and they would, you're a bitch, shut up, and they was like, everyone was putting me in my place with my attitude. So by the time he came back to the island, I was a lot calmer. I was a little bit of a nicer person, not 100% better, but I was okay. And he came off the boat and I saw him immediately and I ran up to him. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I'm so happy to see you. And he was like, back off. You're a fucking bitch. Sorry for the swearing, if I'm allowed to. And I stood there. He goes, I have never in my life met anybody who is so disgusting as you. Walked away and I walked down to the beach where the rocks are. And I sat there and I cried and I cried and I cried. And the impact, that was that moment in my life when I realized everything that you say to somebody has an impact. You cannot get away with anything because people take it personally. I do, we're humans. That was my defining moment in my life where I decided no matter what happens, I will treat people with respect and I will treat them with dignity. And I think and that's I'll tell you, that was 2000. That was in the 20 years ago. 20 years ago. And in 20 years, I think there's maybe Sumaya might say something, I don't know, because we worked together for a long time. But I think in 20 years, and I have really worked on being a better person. And I'm very say to people, I'm very, very careful because words are weapons.
Yeah, words are weapons. They are. Yeah. There's that whole thing, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never. I don't know who made that up. I don't even know where that comes from. In fact, I'm going to research that because I don't know where that stupid thing comes from, but I don't think it's true.
No.
Yeah, it's very true. Words do hurt. That's why you've got teeth and lips to guard your tongue.
I'm going to remember that. I love it.
Just to comment on a few things, you spoke about, so I also went to a Jewish, at one stage, I didn't always go to a Jewish day school, but I was at a government school, and then I went to a Jewish day school for 6 months, hated it, came back to the government school, and then of course I think lost my place in the pecking order, and then I was bullied again, and of course I identified as a Jew, so all the anti-Semites dug me down. So it was always crazy, like, because I converted, amongst the Jews I was never Jewish enough, and amongst the non-Jews I was always the Jew. So it was like I was always the odd one out, and obviously having been born with boobs straight out of the oven,
love
it. Just like all of a sudden, like before you know it, boing, you've got these nips. Oh, and don't you remember those training bras with the long, I don't know if they still make that today. They had that long elastic that clicked at the back, and the boys used to take you and go,
yes.
You used to hit you at the back.
So sore.
It was so sore, or they'd unclip it, but I think those were more the experienced ones. But like they were nasty, and it was embarrassing, and it was horrible. And then like women have also so much at that age. We have so much cuck to deal with. I just want to see. I read a comment from JC Manuel. Now where is it? As a guy, I was picked on by mean girls at one school. When I changed schools, I became everyone's friend and flunked the studies for doodles and green cigarettes. Ooh, JC, you sound like my kind of oak. You spoke about drug addiction.
Yes.
If I can just touch on it. So, and we can even talk another stream, because I have dealt with one of my streams. I think it was the inspiration one or the courage one. TG, do you remember which one it was? I'll have to go back and check for you. But it was about a guy, I think it was inspiration, and he was an alcoholic, and he decided to overcome it. And he's been clean and sober for 2 years now. So Jacques, if you watch us, here, my dude. Hope every day is well done. And I watched the experiment on the rats. And in the old days, a rat, and it's all about packs, and how addicts form and bullying, and because I listened to a TED talk, in fact, on the Rebellious Facebook group, I posted it, and he says that when they put a rat in a cage, the rat they'd have plain water and they'd have laced water with something in it, with whatever it is, and the rat would always go for the laced water. When they put the rats in like a La Vida Loca Paradiso type container with other rats, none of the rats would touch the laced cocaine water. And it was all about your environment and all about your social interaction. And when we're not, and this is what's so devastating about this lockdown, I think, is that people have literally been in the fear of this pandemic. They've been isolating themselves. And how has this affected them on that level? Are they doing more drugs? Are they I still think the mental health issue is gonna, that we haven't even started imagining all the shit that's gonna come out of the woodwork down the line because of this thing. So sorry, I know we segued a bit there, but I think having social contact, loving your friends, loving your family, so often we're so nasty to the people in our lives, and I'm guilty. Sometimes TG wants to kill me or walk out that door, and I'm like, I think if he did walk out that door, I'd be desperately miserable. He's a fantastic partner. Cheeky's smiling. I know I give him lots of cuck. And I see we've got, I don't know if Mohammed Yasin Hassan, know him? No? Willie's blueberry muffins make me feel good. Okay. Good for you, Mohammed. I'm so glad Willie's blueberry. Thank God for Willie's. Like when you
I just want to read Samaya's comment because I think it's important for my self-esteem. She said, Angela, never have I witnessed a time where you were nasty to people, super giving and amazing. So that's good for me. So I know that my journey I've been on the right path. So, because Samaya and I have known each other for 13, 14 years.
Jeez.
One of my assistants that I brought in when I was working at AFCO initially, she started off as a student straight out of school, and now she's an amazing HR administrator with a degree, and
wow,
phenomenal.
Brilliant. Well done, Samaya.
So
sorry I got
your name wrong.
Yes. And I think, like, I'll never forget that time I phoned you, and of course my boss was always like, just get hold of Angela, she'll know what to do, she'll know who to contact, blah 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 blah. So I was like, and I phoned you, and I think I was in one of my states where I remember, I think one of our buildings was trying to be hijacked by a certain red crowd in Pretoria, and I don't know, I was at the police station, and you were so helpful and you were so understanding. I was like, oh my God, was I just not, because I get like panicked and I'm like, I need this, and like I forget all my etiquette, dignity, respect flies out the window because I've got this, it's horrible. It's something I have to work on. But you were so cool and so understanding. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you so much for being with me. We have gone just over an hour, and thank you so much to all our viewers. By the way, if you're new here and you like what I have to say and what we talked about, and you'd like to hear more, click subscribe on the. So a lot of people, do you know how many people don't know how to actually use YouTube? So I've been asked, people have phoned me, said, I want to subscribe, but how do I subscribe? Do I have to pay anything? No, you don't have to pay. If you have a Gmail account, you go from your email, you go to YouTube and you click subscribe, and the little red button will go gray. Hopefully you win something, but I haven't gotten lucky yet. I don't know. And then you can be notified of all our shows, and there are other shows. But yeah, so thank you so much, and we'll talk soon in the forthcoming weeks, or next week. We'll I need to sort out my life. Actually, this week I was planning on taking a break, but I just thought I had to talk about this topic. Anything last thoughts?
So so as I said, I've been watching this Marissa Peer religiously. She is phenomenal. And I think I was thinking about it today when I was preparing for this, like if I had to pick one thing that she has said that has impacted me the most since I've started watching her, it is this. When other people praise you, they usually have an agenda. Your boss will say to you, you're doing a great job, here's your overtime. Someone will say to you, oh, your hair looks so great. How about we go for coffee and you pay for, people have an agenda. Whereas when you praise yourself, there is no agenda. And going back to that thing where your words, you become your words and you become what you say to yourself. Self-praise is so important because there's no agenda, there's no ulterior motives. I am good at what I do. I'm successful. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it. That's self-praise. There's no agenda in that. I'm being honest with myself. And even if you're honest with yourself, the other thing is fake it till you make it, which is, we should be doing anyway, because you'll eventually get you fake it till you make it.
Yes. No, yeah. Brilliant. Yes, that's amazing. Yeah, self-praise and I think with self-praise you begin to love yourself, you begin to value yourself. And also if you're in crappy relationships with crappy, it's like how do you, like, the only time a person can be depressed, what's that saying? I'll find it. I'll try and stick it on some Rebellious group. Oh, we're also on Instagram, by the way.
Okay.
But if you happen to be depressed, look around you. You might have someone either bullying you or someone putting you down, or the people you're around. So if you're depressed and you're not happy in your life, look at your environment and work out what makes you happy. Sometimes it's so subtle. And I think a lot of women are trapped in relationships where it's so subtle. It's so subtle.
Sorry, Karen.
No, Karen. No, I think I'd finished.
I think as women as well, we're a lot more tolerant. So we put up with a lot more and we think, well, it will get better. I can fix him. There's a whole lot of lies that we tell ourselves to stay in bad relationships. He'll get better. He'll get out of bed. Whatever.
Yeah, we just accept, and maybe it's our nature as well. But I think a lot of women also, and men, we tolerate a lot of relationships. But anyway, I'm laughing at Jesse Manuel. He started a thing. He says, "Thanks for the real talk, ladies. I love you, Jesse." So nice that he's saying he loves himself. And then Elizabeth is saying, "I love you, Elizabeth." So yes. So Samaya also say, "I love you, I love you, Samaya." Oh, Cass, I love you, Cass, and I love you, Ruth. And I think it's important. It's so important.
Yeah.
And we all have choice, and we all can approve little things, and it's hard, but we can. So thank you, everybody. So cool that you all joined us. Have a great week, and we'll hopefully see you Thursday. And TTFN, everybody. TG.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, brilliant. TTFN, everybody. Cheers.